Fun. Do you like fun?
No, I hate it. Fun's terrible.
Never mind. Goodbye. Thank you.
Thanks for watching.
Right. Okay. No. Fun is needed, in my opinion. As the resident fun enjoyer, I shall have fun.
I like fun as well.
Because I'm going anyway, so I'm gonna have some fun on the way out. So let's begin with this though, which is not fun. To remind ourselves of why we need fun, because this is a clip which I saw Russian garbage human, one of the old comrades, sent me this, and it's just depresso. So let's have a look at this.
The first time in our nation's history, a 30-year-old man or woman isn't doing as well as his or her parents were at 30. That is the social compact breaking down. People aged 30 to 34, 60% of them in 1990 had one child. Now it's 27%. People are opting out of America. They're not optimistic about it. They're not having kids. Young people aren't having sex. They're not meeting. They're not mating. The pool of emotionally and economically viable men shrinks every day, which lessens household formation. So we have a real issue. Young people are enraged. So it turns every cut, every movement into an opportunistic infection because, quite frankly, they are just pissed off. They look up, they see wealth, exceptional wealth across my generation and people in certain industries, and they are really struggling. Their purchasing power is going down, and the incumbents create artificial scarcity on campus. We take pride in rejecting 90% of our applicants, so the incumbents who already have a degree see their degree go up in value. We get very concerned with housing and traffic once we own a housing. Housing permits are sequestered from young people. Housing prices have gone from $290 to $420 in the last 4 years. So a young person, a house, stocks that I don't own skyrocket in value. Let's have COVID relief and flush the markets and take assets way up, because if 1 million people dying would be bad, it would be tragic if I got less wealthy. And we're doing it on their credit card. Young people have every reason to be enraged, and every issue they see, they look up, they get angry, and they see someone doing better than them. And then every day it is speedballed in their face that they are failing, that they are not doing as well as everyone around them. We have lost the script. Our kids are more anxious and more depressed and more obese and more addicted. And we have made a purposeful decision to let this happen by ensuring that people around this table stay wealthy at the cost of young people. So
I don't think I've ever heard something from MSNBC that I've agreed with so much. What is this wizardry?
Weird. But as you can see here, the thing he's responding to is this graph that was released showing that how much is a child going to be earning compared to their parents by year of birth. So if you were born in the 1940s, for example, you were making, I'm trying to read it because the camera's in the bloody way, but I think it's 90% more. 90%. Am I reading that right, Josh? You can actually see.
Percentage of children earnings more than their parents, 90% more in 1940. Yeah.
That makes sense.
You're just born, over 90, really.
You're born in 40. Your parents, let's assume they're 20 years old, were born in the 1920s. You're earning 90% more than them. Yeah, okay, makes sense. But
isn't it a percentage? So it's 90% of people are earning more than their parents, not they're earning 90% more.
Correct. So that's how it was. And then you can see as it bottles down. And then if you're born in the 50s, still pretty bloody good. You're earning more than your parents. And then it hovers, what is that? The 50% mark here is where we are. So if you were born in the 80s, you had a pretty bad time, but then things went back up and then went back down again. So now if you're born in the 90s, you're going to be earning on average, 50% of you will be earning more than your parents. 50% of you won't. So we've reached no growth.
Yeah, well, my parents left school at 16 and both went into work, and they earned more at my age than I do now by a significant margin in real terms.
And you can see here...
And I've got a master's degree, so it doesn't make any sense.
And you can see here the trend line as well, because that's going to keep going lower by the looks of it. And that's the United States, of course. But that's the American dream, in a sense. It's not this BS that people spout about, like, oh, the American dream was big house, kids, family, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, of course. But the real contract there was the same thing you hear people talk about China, which is that in China, for example, whenever you hear someone talk about it, they always say, well, the agreement between the people and the state is after Tiananmen Square, that as long as you have the economy keep growing, the CCP can be in charge and do what it's want. That's how people describe it. I would say that's pretty much true for most countries, because if you can't increase the standard of living for people, you're going to have a revolution at some point. Might not be violent, might be democratic instead, might not be democratic, might be a complete overthrow of the whole system. But if things aren't getting better for a long enough time, people lose hope. And if they lose hope, it's over. That's when you've got to leave a relationship. So
I'm breaking up with the UK government.
Yeah. So I saw that. That's not fun. That's not fun at all. I'm very sad. And well, I can't improve that. So instead, let's have some fun.
All right.
All right.
It's a deal.
Video game news. The Hard R Shop.
What?
Yeah, there we go. Let's take your mind off the depression. This is a new game that's come out called Stellar Blade, and apparently they have a shop in there called the Hard R Shop, where you can go and buy things. Funnily enough,
Who are the patrons in there by any chance?
nobody knows. Nobody's figured it out. Just the local man waiting at a petrol station, knowing that he's not going in. But the situation was that apparently this was put in the game by accident, they swear.
We accidentally coded this whole thing.
Yes, we accidentally put the hard graffiti next to the R shop. That's a whole. So they've had it removed. So in case you're wondering, there you are. There's just, it got instantly memed by people enjoying it, enjoying the video game. It's all good fun. But what was funny is they then replaced it with the word crime. So as you can see, they made it the crime shop instead of the hard R shop.
That's even funnier, really.
Yeah.
You mean they replaced hard R with crime?
The other thing that I found weird is it turns out that's actually also a slur.
Crimer?
Yeah.
Oh, I just said it.
Well, there we are.
Oops.
You're on camera saying the slur.
Boo-hoo.
I mean, at least you didn't...
It's a silly slur anyway.
At least you didn't put it in a video game. That would have been worse. I've spent my whole professional life building this video game. What's in it? Racial slurs. Whoops.
I'll play it.
Okay, maybe you would. But for those who want to visit the Hard R Cafe, which, to be honest, does sound like good fun. It'll be a laugh. You'll sadly have to go into Mexico, which is because I decided to Google to see if anyone's actually done that. And yes, there is a guy in Mexico who's actually done this. He's named his taco restaurant that.
I take it's not El Nino then.
No.
Not named after the weather pattern.
Had my my time in MS Paint to cover that up. But anyway, more fun. I have more fun. International relation news.
Ooh.
We're pissheads.
Yes.
A lot of us.
I know, yeah. Sorry, we just can't wait until the comments.
I'm meant to do this.
Lovely stuff. Don't worry, podcasting will resume in a second.
Yeah, it's not important. Anyway, as you can see here, children in England top alcohol usage charts according to the World Health Organization. We're number one, boys. Number one indeed. As you can see here, child alcohol consumption at record levels. They're blaming it on lockdown here.
I did my part. Did you?
Yeah.
I genuinely did.
Go and meet, children ask me, can you buy some beers? I say, of course, son.
Of course, I'll buy you a whole litre of vodka and for you.
Would you like some whiskey?
I've got some cigarettes as well.
Hi folks, sorry to interrupt the video, but I wanted to let you know that we've introduced a feature on the website that allows you to purchase individual videos. So if you go over to lotus.com and see a piece of premium content that you really want to watch, you can pay for it, and it is yours forever.
So this here, look, we're trying to fit in with Swindon culture and become alcoholics, all right? Stop complaining in the chat. So this here is a chart, and it was done by the World Health Organization. And what's the news here is, sadly, we're not the ones drinking the most alcohol per capita. We've not reached there yet. That's still Estonia or something.
That is the worst colour scheme. Is that just the dark mode? I can't read the names.
Yeah, John, could you kill the dark mode for us? I don't know if that'll help us. If
you make it white, please. Thank you.
Comes to Yusuf right there.
Oh yes, little Easter egg there.
And as you can see, so if you look at this chart, you can see that the youngest drinkers are, of course, the English. So this is the percentage of 11-year-olds who have ever drunk alcohol. So we chop the tarts for boys and girls.
The tarts?
They top the charts for boys and girls. It's kind of...
You're either Jack the Ripper or you're at a village fete eating a pie. I don't know.
Bubbles. So as you can see here, England is actually a quite gender equal society in which our 11-year-olds both have been drinking alcohol. Whereas in Moldova, for example, they have horrible patriarchy where 11-year-old girls don't drink alcohol so much.
Yes. We've got the drunkest women in Europe.
Yeah. Here's the chart, in case you were wondering. So, everyone in the office will be France. Where is France?
Well, Wales is quite far down compared to England, isn't it?
Yes. So you go, here's France. There's that. What was the first time you drank alcohol, Josh?
It was in France.
Of course it was. We didn't plan that. What happened?
Well, I was at a wedding in France, and there was a bowl of punch. I didn't know it's punch. I thought it was fruit juice. And because there was only water for children, I wanted fruit juice. And I drank a bunch of fruit juice, and I thought it was a little bit bitter. Turns out it was alcoholic punch.
God damn.
And some French people tried to tell me that, no, don't drink that. And I just thought they didn't want to share the the fruit juice with the children. And
Greedy parents stealing all the good fruit juice.
so it just turns out I got drunk, and then I went and told my mum, and she thought it was funny. She's just like, it's all right, we're in France, it doesn't matter here.
But the funniest story is not so much that all our children are stealing the punch, but it turns out there's an even more great reason to be proud to be British. Not British. Screw the Welsh. You're not even good
English.
drinkers. English alone.
We need to see more children drinking in Wales. You need to pump those numbers up.
Well, here's the story. Some British tourists got on a plane. It was a 4-hour flight to Turkey, and they drank the plane dry within 25 minutes.
Here, here. Yes.
Cheers, boys. We're not the only ones who are enjoying this. I don't know if you've seen, but literally, like, all the British Twitter accounts, here's no context Brits. It's just responding with, yes, which, fair enough.
Britannia rules the beverages, apparently.
Oh, I would just drink turkey dry at least. I mean, that's not hard.
But then you've got to drink raki. And as we know from that Lads Hour, raki is gross.
I'm not drinking cum. So here's all the other responses.
Crop
It's just people being like, remember The Simpsons?
that.
Proud to be British. And the last one here. Let's fucking go, lads. So, yeah.
That's what I'm going to look like when I'm older.
I do know that we're actually despised by the Mediterraneans, as in us going on holiday. The English.
Well, it's because a lot of our tourists that go to the common holiday destinations are
Look like
are
that.
the sort of lagerlouts of Britain, football hooligan types, which, I'm not above. So I'm not judging, but I know we don't behave particularly well abroad. I tend to try and not be that guy. I'm trying to help our reputation when I go on holiday. Not by much, I still get drunk, but still.
Lame. Refuse to learn the language, be an asshole, and then fly home.
But learning the language is fun. You know this.
Yeah, I know. I'm playing the part. Anyway, that's enough international relation news. Now on to war news. This is where the real fun is. Somehow.
No drinking in here. This is the war news.
Yes, to our war desk. Here's some news, which I've been telling the story around the office because I saw it and it's hilarious. Sorry to audio listeners, you'll just have to learn Russian. But to everyone else,
learn Russian, bro.
just pause the video, come back when you're ready, and everyone else enjoy this wonderful story about a local man who was out fighting the war, and he decided to stumble across a doorbell. Let's see what happened.
Ну и, естественно, самая, наверное, глупая, растяжка за всю историю, которую я вообще знаю, это дверной звонок в лесу на дереве. И, к сожалению, человек, который шел в головнике, увидел этот звоночек на дереве вдоль дороги, подошел и еблан нажал на него. И вдоль всего головника и части ядра гирлянда въебала. Ну, кто знает, что такое гирлянда, тот знает.
Это прям вообще
Вот.
первоапрельская поебота. Ну, звонок на дереве, блядь.
Ну, представляешь, и додуматься в лесу, сука, подойти и тыкнуть в него.
Я бы
Ну, это
тыкнул.
пиздец.
Вот честно, я бы тыкнул.
So for the audio listeners, we'll describe it. He was saying the stupidest booby trap story he's heard yet is that the Russian soldiers were walking around and they found a Ring doorbell that's just tied to a tree, and one of the guys decided to push it, and presumably he heard ding, 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 and then he died. And everyone
Boom,
died.
yeah.
And I just love the end bit. The guy who's doing the interview is listening to all this. Is like, well, honestly, I would have pushed it too.
I think it would have been difficult to resist. Although if I were in a war zone, I probably would have sniffed out a rat there. Just like, hang on a minute, this is an electronic device in the middle of the woods. What is going on here? Could this be an explosive?
See, you think that sitting here at a desk, right? But when you've been walking around for days, you're bored. There's not much going on. I think every male agrees we would push the.
Well, what did he think would happen? You like press the bell and a bear comes out from behind a tree, just like,
Well, little Robin would open its door and be like, "Hello, what did you want?" You wouldn't ring it seriously, like sincerely. If you were there for 3 days, all right, not even a long time, just 3 days. You're bored to tears, walking around the woods. Doorbell.
if I saw it in a British woods, I'd do it without hesitation. But if we're in a war zone, I'd be like, well, that's the easiest trigger of explosives ever.
Well, it works. That's all I'm saying. So there we are. I told you war news could be fun. So there's that story. Instantly, this has become a Wojak, in case you're wondering. It's just Russian man sees doorbell. God, I love Ring doorbell.
The curiosity killed the Russian soldier. It doesn't have the same ring to it, does it? Well, pardon the pun. There you go. Dad joke for the day.
What?
Said,
Oh, I'm too stupid. I'm not going to get it. Instead, let's end this off because I've gone over time for just some other things, which is here we are. The war's looking rather Mad Max, if people hadn't noticed recently. I know those Muslims and Jews are more interesting when they kill each other, but if we go back to the Slavs, they're doing this. So this is the Ukrainian side who are taking on the stalker aesthetic.
have you seen the tanks with a similar thing? I hope I'm not stealing your thunder here.
The Blyatmobile.
Yes.
This is the Blyatmobile.
Oh, you've got it. Yes.
This is the Russians. Presumably.
It's like a mobile pigsty, isn't it?
I can't get over this, but the people listening, you are right. It is a pigsty with wheels and a big gun. I presume this is the separatists because they're the ones who get like the pretty poor equipment, just whatever you can find, lads. Enjoy. And they seem to have built the Blyatmobile, as it is being dubbed.
No. I can't even do it. I can't believe it.
This.
It's like orcs in the Warhammer universe, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. When the war started, there was this meme started. The Ukrainians would call the Russians orcs as a slur, being like, well, they're not really human. They're basically animals. Kill them all. They're invading our lands. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Typical,
Despite the fact that anyone outside of Russia or Ukraine can't tell the difference between the two.
It's that meme. They're the two Indian guys. Fuck off. We don't like your kind here. The same goddamn people. But that meme started, and it was a proper thing by the Ukrainians to be like, kill the Russians. But the thing was, when I was in Donbass, we went to one of the military stores there, and they sell the typical stuff, coats for the cold, different kinds of replacements for your clothing if it gets damaged, pouches, bags, etc., so forth, right? But one of the things is they sell patches, and I realized that there's a real love of military men and patches to have stupid ass patches, and a bunch of them are literally just orcs from Warhammer 40,000. Like the Russians got called orcs and went, so true.
It's literally me.
Yeah, and are now building mechs. So there we are. This is why fun is important, because the news may be horrific. We're all going to be poorer than our parents, and the West is falling. But we do drink an awful lot of beer. If you appreciated that episode from the podcast of the Lotus Eaters, you can go to lotuseaters.com to get access to all the premium content that's on the site, such as Common Sense Crusade with Calvin Robinson. If you'd like to find out what else is being put out, you can follow on Twitter at lotuseaters_com on Twitter. Thank you and goodbye.